And hello, world. My name is Alex, and with me is Carolina. Hello.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. I've been setting up the whole studio situation just so we can have this whole talk.
Right.
Hopefully, it will go well. But just so you know, guys, it's the first time in my life I'm doing something like this. So just bear that in mind.
See, every day is a school day.
Yeah, I mean, you're always learning something new. And I'm a perfectionist. And since we're doing something like kind of in a YOLO situation, I think it's going to help me.
Oh yeah, I'm totally the opposite. You just go with the flow and just smooth cruising. But yeah, right. So let's talk about Quatsch, right? So
Watch, watch.
yeah.
Why are
So
we here and who are
yeah,
we
exactly.
and everything? Why are we even doing the whole situation, like streaming?
So, will you take the lead, please, on this one?
And first of all, maybe let's introduce each other. So, uh, on this side is 7 years of experience of a PM. I'm Caro. Nice to meet you, Carolina, for people who wants to know my real long name, but I go by Caro. It's easier. And I am actually happily or unhappily unemployed for a few months. I mean, I'm joking a bit, but the thing is that I'm actually looking for a good place. I want to find some fun place to work at. Maybe create something on my own, as you can see or will maybe understand soon. And yeah, I have a cat, I have a snake, and that's all from me for now.
Yeah.
And the mic goes to you.
And as I've said before, my name is Alex. I'm a marketer, although I do um see, I don't know. I think it's a difficult decision to make whether I'm a marketer really or just a full-on builder. Uh, I'm somewhere in between for sure. And well, that's mainly what I do. Outside of that, I love dogs. I love petting dogs and cats as well.
That's true.
But cats are assholes, so you have to be careful with the
Also,
cats.
I can confirm that he will pet any dog that is next.
Yes, that
Like
is true.
he will talk to the people just to ask if he can pet the dog. So,
Yep,
can I pet
yep,
that dog?
yeah. Like that meme, like that video. But yeah. Um, and well, right. So but I'm sure that not just us. We came to the conclusion that the job market nowadays is, well, kind of nuts, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
And
it is.
it's nonsense, even.
Why would you use a word like that though?
Well, so see, when we were looking for a name. I was looking for a temporary name, or so I thought, and I was looking through vocab connected to job hunting in Spanish. But then I thought, well, I think people usually say that Germans are very work orientated, and the stereotypes say that Germans are hard workers and so on. So I thought, okay, maybe German. And for some reason, um, one word that Perplexity suggested was quatsch, meaning nonsense. And I just initially very liked the idea of quatsch because the word just flows. It's very simple to say. And I remember a conversation that I've had a few years back with a buddy of mine who was a marketing guy or a product guy at Apple, I think. And he
Don't
uh
name drop, you know.
I don't remember his name. I don't remember his name, which is sad. I mean, it was 5 years ago, but anyway. So his point was that in order to have a successful company, you need a good name that just flows. And his emphasis was on the flowing. So like when you have Apple, it just flows. When you have um, Spotify, it just kind of flows. And another, like for example, another German word connected to job hunting is jobben, and it's kind of like it doesn't really sound that great, right? It's not.
No,
I mean,
that one doesn't flow for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, that one isn't so great. So I thought, okay, it's gonna be just temporary. So I'm just gonna put Quatsch there.
And then you send it to us.
Yeah,
And my first instinct was because you just mentioned that it's nonsense and it was kind of connected to this idea of the job market being
yeah,
a nonsense right now.
yeah,
And my first instinct was like, like the branding that's kind of negative
yeah,
from the start is can be problematic. Like it
yeah,
can lead to people connecting you with something negative. But then also you kind of mentioned at some point when we were discussing it, Slack or Discord or other apps that are actually using exactly that, like the
yeah,
total opposite of how what they want to solve, what problems they want to solve, and
yeah,
creating their name that is like 180 degrees the opposite of what they're doing.
yeah,
And it kind of sold me then. And also, as you mentioned, it flows.
yeah.
So yeah, but we're kind of starting from the end. So
So
yeah, we're talking.
just like I like that. Just like I like
Yes.
it. But anyway, no, you know what? There was another name that I have put. I think it's even in the URL.
Okay.
I initially put Vitae plus plus, like the curriculum vitae, and like plus plus,
Oh. Oh
like
shit.
C plus plus, like CV augmented, because I mean, it kind of tied a, a bit to what I perceived this product to be or try to be, because so the idea is to have a career
That's why I said.
experience of the 21st century, right?
But this one doesn't flow though. I
Yeah.
mean, you never mentioned it, so I guess
Yeah,
there
I mean
was some.
it's in the URL, even if you go to the registry page, it's even in the URL. But yeah,
Oh,
it doesn't flow. And it's
I didn't
Latin.
notice that. I think it wouldn't like catch. And
Yeah.
also with the Quatch it's kind of funny because if it's easy to have the branding like this because it's a really specific word. Like it's not
Yeah.
any other word and not
Yeah.
any other word in English also. So
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
Uh, okay, but still, so we're talking about Quatch. We're talking about nonsense. We're kind of touching the subject of job searching and the job market. But why exactly is that? And if I may just answer my own question, we're actually starting uh, participating in a hackathon. I'm looking at the notes. It's called World's Largest Hackathon, and it's presented by Bolt. And Bolt is this new tool for building and coding without the knowledge of coding, using prompts. And in here, I'm just going to give the voice back to you, Alec, on the how you found out about it because you actually brought this whole idea to me. So
So I remember I registered to Bold, I think not long after initial launch of the platform, and I was in the newsletter. I forgot to unsubscribe, and one day they pushed an email to me. They sent an email to me, a newsletter, and they announced the world's largest hackathon. And I initially I dismissed it, but then I thought, well, hell with it. I might as well just give it a shot. And I reached out to Yulia, who's on vacation in Turkey. So
Turkey,
she's
yeah,
not.
just
Yeah,
to
Turkey.
be.
Turkey mentioned. Yeah, but she's not here with us. She's gonna be on stream some other day when she's back. But anyway, so um, yeah, I've reached out to her, and I thought, okay, look, like I think we can make something happen, and we went through several different ideas, and we landed on okay. So before you joined, we were supposed to make a Pocket replacement or a Pocket clone, just with AI focused on fighting disinformation and stuff. But then you joined and
And
you
mess
pitched this
everything
idea.
up, right?
Yeah, I mean, no, I think how was it? I think you pitched.
It
Yeah,
was actually, you mentioned so we were discussing the pocket replacement, and then you
yeah,
mentioned something about some other idea, and when you mentioned this other idea, so you kind of showed that you're open to any alternatives to this pocket idea. And I've never used Pocket, so I was not so close to this, and I didn't feel such a need for this tool. I asked if I can pitch this one that we're just going to discuss in a few moments. Uh, and this is actually an idea that came to me a few months ago, and I started researching it because, as I mentioned, I'm looking for my place in the world, in the job market. I'm trying to find something, but then I also don't want to just go to any company. But even with having quite a lot of experience and having a pretty CV and having some coaching from people who are recruiting, uh, I still couldn't find anything that would work. And I noticed a few challenges that are going on when you are unemployed. And I know it's like this taboo word, people are not feeling comfortable using it. And also, I do not feel comfortable being unemployed, just so we know all, so it's clear. Uh, but yeah, I kind of started thinking about it because I was so frustrated. I didn't have any structure in my life at that point because you don't have a job, so you're not waking up to meetings, you're not having some challenges, and you're just kind of getting stuck in this loop of being unproductive because you don't have a structure, and also not being able to motivate yourself because of the feeling that you're not doing anything. So that was the first thing that kind of pushed me into, let's say, workshopping in my head what can be done to help this. And then it kind of developed into this whole idea. Again, I'm still, teasing a bit and not saying any specifics on what is the idea yet, because I know that we've got some subjects around the job market situation first. So yeah, but that's how it all happened. That I kind of pitched it, and it was pretty a YOLO situation because we were just discussing the pocket idea, and then I just was like, no, maybe we could do something like this. And then we decided that we're actually going to meet again in 2 days after I'm more prepared to just share the whole thing in Miro, which is like my favorite tool. And yeah.
right. Yeah, and I mean, the idea had been in the plans for some time already, right? Because you've called me about it a few months back. right?
Yeah, I think it was around 5 months, 4 months ago.
Right.
And at that time, I was actually having some calls with a few people just to kind of find out if I'm the only person having such thoughts about the job market. So I wanted to find out if it's just me, seeing that, for example, you get ghosted so much, or that you don't even get any response to a CV, even though you know that you're filling up all of the requirements, and also about the so many other parts of the recruitment process that is happening right now, like that are happening right now. And you were one of the people I talked to about
Yep.
that, and I think it was like 4 or 5 months ago.
Yep. Pretty much. I mean, I
uh
think yeah.
and then I actually had mm, loss of motivation at some point when it came to that, because I was discussing it with some friends, some colleagues, to actually develop it. But I hit the wall, sort of, because the people I was wondering to involve didn't have much time at that point, and it kind of just happened like that, that we didn't move forward.
Mm.
And yeah, and then you contacted me, and it sort of happened, right?
Yeah, it is happening. It is.
It
Uh,
is, and
so
it's pretty
yep.
intense right now.
Oh yeah, very much so. I mean, just like a hackathon, just like a normal hackathon, with the exception that at least this one lasts for a month, and usually it's over the weekends, and you just kind of work 24 hours a day.
Oh
Well,
yeah, this
more or
one is
less.
hope. I'm pretty happy that even though it's a hackathon, it's not like that. We don't want to kill ourselves, I hope. I
Well,
mean,
yeah,
well,
that wouldn't be ideal for sure.
and with like a longer hackathon is actually, I would say, more like you can maintain it more, because
Yeah,
those 24-hour ones are pretty. I've never joined one, and I think it's pretty intense when you need to deliver something in 24 hours, and then you don't have a minute
yeah,
to waste.
yeah.
So yeah, in
Right,
here we're just kind of trying to do it, I would say, more in this perfectionist way. I mean, we can, because we have a little bit more time. So I'm
right.
happier, because my OCD wouldn't be able to manage the 24-hour one, when you really have to be better done than perfect.
Yep, that's for sure. So, so then, what is the gist of what we're gonna build? I mean, I think we can talk
Unveil
about.
the secrets.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think we can at least hint at what we're trying to deliver here.
Okay, so I started mentioning the lack of structure, which was like the initial point of starting point for my thoughts then. And it was that we need to, or I need to create something that will help me plan all the self development that needs to happen, and even not self development. I mean, I've been thinking that even if it's something really private, like, I don't know, learning a new language because I just want to,
Mhm.
it still should be structured in some way, because this structure is giving me, so to speak, like this security, peace of mind, that I'm waking up and that I have some, that I'm grinding in a way, like, you're just going and repeating some process, but it's this, there is security in it. Uh, and then I started thinking that, like, I heard, saw ads from some apps about planning your day for example, people with like neurodivergent people, so people with ADHD who are trying to plan their days just for it to get easier for them to manage everything. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, so that could be the starting point. But then what is the next issue in there with the job search? And then I thought that it's also the part of building a CV and this pain of, I don't know how many CV creators have you tried, Alex, but I've tried a few and they were all a pain.
Yeah, I've tried a bunch, and they were taking quite long to optimize the CV, at least the ones that I have used.
And also, you're creating one, and then if you want to create another one, it's one of the things is that it's pricey. And even if when I started to, do some research about the prices and comparison of what I would have to do and how pricey it would have to be to still be a competition,
Hmm.
it wasn't that difficult to be a competition because the prices were so high, and for a solution that is pretty outdated and not using AI, more like you just have a template or like, I don't know, 30 versions of the CV you can take. You don't even have an option to move all the categories like drag and drop style.
Hmm.
It's just preset in a way, and then you need to do everything manually, and it takes a lot of time. And
Hmm.
then when you're in the current job market, it's not just that you're sending this one generic CV that looks good.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's also that you need to fit into this whole
You
role
need,
description from this
yeah,
actual job listing.
yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
and then imagine doing this whole work every time you're trying to send a new CV. And let's say you're really trying to get a job. And I know about people who are not in this position as me, but more like pushing to get any job that is in their area of interest, so to speak. So they are really pushing and to try anything.
Hmm.
And they are sending hundreds of CVs. And
Yeah,
imagine then that you need to align the CV every time to
yeah, yeah.
each role because you are still being verified by a bot on the other side at the beginning.
Yeah, yeah, it's for sure. I mean, it's unfeasible. It's impossible to adapt every single I mean, to every single job listing, job. Yeah, it's just honestly impossible to do, and I would certainly agree that yeah, I mean, look, it's kind of like it's on the basis of, well, recruiters are using AI to go through your resume, and potentially see if you're a match or you're not a match, at least initially. And
Yeah.
so I think it's fair game to use AI to
Improve the CV to
improve.
make
Yeah,
it work. Yeah, like
yeah,
kind of work into the key hole that we do
yeah,
have on the
yeah.
other side.
and
Uh,
and we're not talking about lying on the resume, because it's absolutely not about that. It's just defining the sum of your experiences, and then like um so companies, when they need for example, like say they need a Python developer, and one company needs one framework and the other company will list another framework. So you won't put two of them. You won't usually, typically, wouldn't want to put both of them um, in your resume. I mean, you can for sure, but it's
but then the CV
yeah,
gets really big. So you kind of, in a
yeah,
general CV, you just need to decide on what you want to put in there and what is like the most oftenly used by
yeah,
companies and requested. And then, yeah, every time you have a new job listing, you can have. So there is this thing on LinkedIn, we discussed it at some point, that, for example, on LinkedIn, you can have like those requirements for skill set
Yeah.
requirements that are automatically set. I mean, set by the company, but then they are automatically filtering people
Yeah.
by this. And the funny thing is that you can have a listing which will say project management, for example, and then the other one will just say management. And
Yeah.
those are two different skills. They are not unified in any way. And then you have two options on LinkedIn. You can either have like 5,000 skills just to cover everything that you do have in your skill set, but it looks ridiculous. But at
Yeah.
least you're being kind of matched with the companies until they look into your profile and then see that you have 5,000 skills and it
Yep.
doesn't look
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
So, or you can just have those 10 or 15, which is actually something that's LinkedIn like let you know that is more like better.
Yep.
But then you're not being filtered out by those companies because they have different skill set up for the filters.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, for sure. And another thing is that you want to have a resume that's only 1 page long. I mean, ideally,
Yeah.
because when humans do read the resume, they're not gonna look past page one, probably.
I heard
Uh,
about that. I don't know if that's the case every time. Maybe it's the case with like the younger generation when you don't have so much experience. Because if you have someone who has like 30 years experience, it's impossible to fit it in one page, I think.
yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah, true. But then again, yeah, you would what you would do is you would list only relevant experience, right? But then again, good luck doing it every single time you apply.
You either do
Especially,
that
yeah, yeah,
manually or you don't do it and then decide on what is the most relevant for a general role like that. Like, for example, I created three templates for a CV that I was just sending out,
yeah,
which was a project manager one and specialized one for Scrum Master and product owner. And they are different. Even even in a really, really close role, technically, my CVs are different because I'm not going to mention some things when I'm applying for a Scrum Master role because some
yeah,
things about, I don't know, reporting are not relevant at all. And I'm just going to use space in the CV.
yeah, yeah,
But
for sure.
then, so you said that we don't want to encourage lying on a CV.
No,
We
no,
don't. We actually want to create like this database of experiences that you have, like all of them, like from each job that you've been in, or some, I don't know, even practices from school, because sometimes that can also help,
mm,
or some exchanges, and then have it in our app. And
mm,
then when you input the role description into our app, it's going to, using AI, we're using AI, we're going to match your experiences to the job description so it matches perfectly, like the best it can, uh, basing it on your experience, of course. And
yeah,
then the other thing is that since we do want to encourage the self development and create the structure and everything, when you do have this CV that is working with the job description, we can still show you things that you can develop. So, for example, you do have this and this tool knowledge,
mm,
but you don't have something else. And first of all, it's going to give you some view on what you can prepare for the interview if you have one. And also, it's going to give you some idea on what you may develop and then add to a planner, add to your calendar. So it's going to push you a bit to spend your private time, but time that you have since you are unemployed, possibly,
mm.
and just work on developing your skill set and being more interesting for the next job interview, maybe, or just showing at the interview and saying that you're actually developing in this field that they're interested in, which will still show something really good for the recruiters.
Right. So what else? What else besides that? I think we have a couple of functions left in the plans, but honestly, the MVP is gonna be an MVP after all. So it's just gonna be
Yeah.
bare bones.
When we did this pitch talk on Saturday, we started creating the
Yeah,
whole the whole scope.
yeah,
And since I'm in here mostly in a role of product owner, and I'm focusing on like the business side and the ideas and how we can develop it, and of course we're then brainstorming and creating something together. But I'm focusing on creating like the whole map of the scope. We started doing that and discussing that, and I saw Alec
yeah,
becoming pale because
yeah,
the whole scope got really, really big. And obviously we do only have 1 month. And then we had a call and I was like, chill, it's not that bad. We don't want to push everything. We're going to go into an MVP, just decide on what is the most important part and what is something we can work on later.
right. That's
Yeah.
true.
So actually, aside from the MVP, and so we're kind of workshopping and talking to you right now about what we can do. It is a teaser a bit because you want to know what we want to do and what we're going to do finally by the end of the month. Not yet, at least.
Mhm.
But I want to do a teaser that is like 100% sure something that is in the future and not for now. And that is called, we actually workshopped it as a work diary for now. And that is something that is kind of going to close this whole loop of, so it won't be just an app for people who are looking for a job, but also something that will be, let's call it like a super agent, special agent taking care of your whole employment job situation. So it's not only looking for a job, but also when you're uh, already, I skipped one thing and it's an important one. Can
Did you?
I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna we're getting back. We're going to get back to what I just said. The first thing, which is really important, is that let's say that you have your CV. You have your plan, you're self developing the hell out of it. This is like going amazing. And then you do get a job interview. And you're stressed because it's a job interview and you didn't have any in some time, for example. And what we want to also do and take care of is to prepare for the job interviews.
Right.
Partially, that's about creating just a database of questions and answers for both the generic ones, but also those that are role specific.
Mhm.
But then also making sure that you as a user feel safer going into this interview, like sort of prepared. It's not always, you're not going to know exactly what they're going to ask you, but even those questions that are, I don't know, mm, what are your good and bad things, like pros and cons of your person, and that on its own is a horrible question. I don't know, I hate it.
True.
And I always don't know what to say, so you need to think about it. And that's the idea, to kind of give you a space to think about it. And what I mentioned about the work diary later on, like
Yeah.
before, is that this would just close the loop of not only taking care of someone when they're searching for a job, but also when they already have one, they can use this job interview assistant in a different way to, for example, get ready for. And oh, wait a second. Can you help me with the word, Alex? How is
What
it
word?
called? Oh
What
my
word are you
God.
looking for?
When you're being reviewed. Oh yeah, review, like the review call. Oh my God, I'm getting red. Sorry. So the review, like yearly review that you have, or a conversation about getting a raise.
Mhm.
Uh, those are stressful conversations, and if you would have a space to kind of get ready, to write down your successes or success stories and create like this work diary exactly. First of
Mhm.
all, it's going to help you be better for the conversation, and
And
later on,
yeah,
uh, it's
im-
going to also give you the oh my god, I lost the train of thought. I'm sorry.
improve your chances for getting a raise, and then and obviously it's hard to, if you don't actively note what you're doing at work, you might forget some things, and then you won't have enough arguments to get a raise, and so you'd be bummed out. So so essentially a solution. We're talking about a career agent solution.
I'm trying to sharpen it. Sorry. Yeah, got
Okay.
it. Uh,
Okay.
what I lost was that it actually is still uploaded into your work experience. So, for example, you're having a conversation about getting a raise, but also you're looking for another job. And then for any new CVs, you can actually use even some numbers, maybe, to get them into the new CV. So you did something in your current job, and it's going to be live, sort of.
Right. Right. That's correct. Um, yeah, but just 360 degrees. We're talking about support.
But that's
During
for future
yeah,
because yeah, it's a really, really, really big scope.
because you cannot develop the whole product in a month. And
I mean, there is this thing that we can always get like 100 developers. I don't know who would manage that, but
you'd like that
uh,
for sure. You
yeah.
like chasing down developers and asking them to log hours on your track.
You always say that, and it's actually bullshit.
It's
Bullshit
true.
is a
It's true.
appropriate word. I just wanted to say for everyone listening or anyone listening that I hate chasing adults about people like things they need to do for themselves. I don't like treating people like kids. So,
Mm.
Alec, just so you know, when I'm chasing you for hours, which I'm not doing right now because we actually deleted the whole time tracking from the management system, I'm treating you like a kid because apparently you can log your time on your own.
Yeah. You never chased me to log my hours because I did that. Um,
I
well,
remember I was
day after
chasing
day.
you about the tasks because they were messed up. Like you were creating some really
Oh
random
yeah,
tasks at some point.
that is true.
It was a learning curve.
And you've had
But
and you've had that rant about the task I've
threads,
created, which was no, the task was called others,
oh yeah,
and
a task for
yeah,
everything, everything and nothing.
yeah, everything that wasn't kind of core work related. Yeah, yeah. There was that, but I wasn't the worst offender in any way, shape, or form. So
No, you weren't, and also just to show you actually liked working with me because you wouldn't come to me if you didn't. So
I don't know. I don't know about that.
oh, your face says that you didn't have a choice. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
you asked two other people, but they just said no. Okay, I get
for
it.
sure. I mean, I wasn't Mr. J, so it's fine. It's fine. I'm chill with you because I wasn't Mr. J, so it's fine. Regarding
Okay.
tasks, logging tasks.
I do have a list of biggest offenders and people who needed chasing so much that it was unsettling that an adult would do it like that. But
Yeah,
uh,
it is what it is.
still, okay. Yeah. So just to summarize, we are working. for a month, trying to create the biggest scope that we can. We'll see how it goes. Using Bolt because the main requirement is we don't need to use Bolt for everything, but we need to use it at least to like initially start, and it's all
Yeah.
watermarked
Yes.
by Bolt. So you're going to be able to see that it's made with Bolt. And by
And
the end of the
yeah.
month, on the 30th, we need to do the launch. We
Yep.
will do a lot of updates, uh, both here and some streaming, so you'll get tired of us talking. And I will get looser with the talking because right now I'm not pretty chill. I'll get better. But yeah, we're going to advertise it. We're going to kind of drown you in some information about job seeking, about the whole branding because it's actually really cool.
Yeah.
And we're going to do it on pretty much all the social media that comes to mind. And when it comes to those streams, I think it didn't come as like it's not set in stone yet, but I think we will put it both on YouTube and on Spotify, so you
The
can just
recording, yeah.
listen to it. Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
wait a second.
Mr. Bułeczka or Buleczka. Mr. Kaiserka. All right. So, hi guys. I'm just in front of my mid-year performance review. Are you planning to deploy some kind of functionality which helps preparing for such reviews? How would the product help me in practice in this case? And you're a baker, or
You never know.
all right. So if
Maybe
you're a baker or not, would you take this one? Uh,
would I take this one? So as I mentioned before, but this is a future feature. We would want to do a sort of a place for you to be able to store everything that you think that was good. Wait a second, where are you? When you're engineering?
engineering. All right.
So yeah, for example, the when is the mid-year performance review? You're just in front of it.
Yeah.
We're I'm kind of afraid we're not going to make it by the time you're going to be at your review, but first of all, we would really appreciate some intel on what would be needed, which is something we're going to push on for in some platforms to just get information from you guys on what is needed. But I think that we're going to have like this whole functionality of a place, a work diary to save all of your success stories and maybe failures and some ways to that you improved what you've messed up at some point, and then also possibly have a voice assistant that would talk with you, ask you some questions that are generic for those interviews. Possibly, I think I'm wondering right now, kind of uh, on the spot, if we wouldn't want to add an option for the users to kind of give us some information on what kind of interview or what is expected from them
Right.
within 6 months or a year. So, for example, if you do have this mid-year performance review right now, and you're going to have, so for example, you work at corporate, you would have an information from your manager that you should do A, B, C by the next review, and you could input that and sort of also manage that if you're actually successful in our app. Not sure if we're going. I'm not sure. I'm sure that we're not going to be able to do that within a month, but it is the idea. Alec, you have some things to add to that? Because I'm
Right.
talking a lot. I'm
I
sorry.
mean, look, I mean, if the review goes poorly, then uh, you might need our app after all. So, regardless
Oh, you go in that way.
regardless of the fact, regardless of the fact if we manage to finish the feature or not, but obviously, right. I think like it's like we've said, it's easy to
If we
forget.
fail, we get a new client. That is like
Yeah. So it's easy to forget what you do in a job over the course of months. So just logging, just having a diary should be really helpful. But I'm not sure how long is it gonna take before we reach that spot, but maybe it's gonna be sooner than expected. Um, I mean, honestly, Bolt is kind of speeding things up. The platform that we're using to create it is kind of speeding things up, and it's not a bad one for sure to prototype your idea and to create your product, because it's just I feel like it kind of I mean vibe coding creates so is prone to creating security threats, but if you do know how to create code without AI, then you know what to look for when you do vibe code your product, when you just use AI to create a product. So um, yeah, it's not half bad, and it's quite convenient. So yeah.
Do you have a lot of experience with vibe coding, by the way?
So whenever I think it was 2022 when GPT-3 first launched, and I immediately thought that like it can help me with some code. And then there was the launch of then I think not long after it was the day when GitHub Copilot launched, and
Hmm.
it was something extraordinary at the time because it freed you from so much mundane tasks, because in coding it's called writing boilerplate code when it's code that doesn't do much on its own, um, and yet you need to write write a lot of it just to have your app functioning. So, for example, one of the worst offenders, if not the worst offender, is Java. Is traditionally Java. C Sharp is a bit better, but still a big offender. And I would say the object-oriented languages are really bad at it. So GitHub Copilot would automate a lot of these things. So when you have Bolt, and so now fast forward a few years, the models have gotten much
Much
better.
better.
Yeah.
Mm.
Um, you can even create whole features using AI. So I think it's amazing. It's quite amazing. And so if I'm not mistaken, this week Bolt announced that it's bringing the newest Claude 4 large language model, which absolutely kicks ass and is awesome at coding. I mean, Claude 3.5 was amazing. Claude 3.7 was even better. So Claude 4 is state of the art at the moment. I'm really intrigued. What will be possible down the line, and maybe in a year, maybe 2 years. It remains to be seen, but yeah, it's quite
I was
interesting.
I was looking at kind of in the insides of my skull to try and figure out which of the mentioned ones are some that I used. But actually, right now, so you mentioned Copilot, and it's kind of cool that I noticed a lot of people who are like totally outside of development background using it and using it to make their job easier for
Yep.
like those really basic things that you can waste a lot of time on. So,
Yep.
and I do believe it's going to get much, much better with time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, no doubt about it. It just remains to be seen, what is going to be the rate of the progress. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's quite interesting. We'll see. For now, working with Bolt was quite nice. It was quite a nice experience. So yeah.
And do you think, oh, this is going to be a difficult question, or a trigger warning here. Do you think AI is actually a threat?
Not yet, and it depends for whom. So I would say the same way that mathematicians are still needed after calculators are everywhere. I mean, after the spread of calculators, the same way developers are still going to be needed even when the models get better. And I think it's safe to say that within our lifetimes, it's quite unlikely that AI will be so good that it will replace us fully. And I mean fully. It's quite unlikely because apart from the um, apart from the the quality of the output, you need to remember about things such as the perceptions. Okay, so if I told you that um, pilots in an airplane are basically jobless apart from takeoff and landing, you would panic because like, oh, so it's all autopilot. And yes, I mean, mostly it
It
is.
is. Yeah, I
and
know.
and
The same
that's
goes for
yeah,
sailing, for example. It's
yeah,
pretty common and actually really comfortable that you can just set up an autopilot, but it's not that you're not doing anything. It's
yeah,
let's say the AI or the bot or something is helping you, it kind of just changes the way you work.
yeah, for sure. So I'd say I feel much safer knowing that that there's an autopilot piloting the plane while in the air. And perhaps it would have been um I would maybe even feel safer if the built-in autopilot was also responsible for both takeoff and landing. Um, and it's I think the fate of our country would have been different if AI was landing planes, right? I think at least. Wink, wink,
Are you we're not going there at
wink,
all.
wink.
We're not
If you
I'm
if you
canceling you
know
right now.
if you know, you know. So anyway, going back, I think talking about software development, I still need to correct, and I still need to um, correct the code and change the code, which it generates most of the time, um, or not most of the time, but sometimes. And most of the time, it's because it has outdated, uh, documentation. But if it's on the basis of if it works like Perplexity, for example, so it can fetch the newest documentation while it generates the output. It's it works like a charm most of the time. And let's not be like,
Overly stressed.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, look, let's be honest. We are not okay. So our brains are extremely efficient, and I mean extremely efficient because a computer that is as fast as a brain would, use as much electricity as a small town, while we can get by on, I don't know, if you really want to push it, you can get through the day eating a candy bar, right? So I think computers are still not there, but uh, I mean our brains are very faulty, and Um, I think the future is super bright. Um, for mankind, we have a lot of
Just ignore
solutions.
me.
We have a lot of solutions. We have a lot of problems to solve, and a lot of solutions to to create. Like we need to still solve a lot of issues, including I don't know, climate change, right? But I think the future is bright. So
I
we've had
think there are some
yeah.
things that we can't, as we're faulty, we can't solve, but then also there are things that won't be solved by a computer for a long time. And that it actually is, just as with the Industrial Revolution, it just changed the way we work.
Oh, right.
And that it's
Carolina, I think there is a question. I think, sorry to interrupt, but that's a question for you. Bulafa for
lucid or mirror.
I don't know what lucid is, so that's one. That's Carolina.
I'm thinking. I mentioned Miro, and I'm thinking it's a trigger question. Also, I may lose some followers that I don't have yet, but we'll see. Definitely Miro. Miro is much, much more complex. It's much bigger, and it does have all the functionalities just as Lucid. And I do enjoy the whole visual representation. Like that's how my brain works best. So when I'm working on some things that I need to brainstorm or something, I'm always using charts. And yeah,
So
so
what's
both
lucid?
are good, but Lucid is they have an amazing marketing. By the way, I'm going to show you later. But it's a tool for diagramming.
Okay.
And
All
it
right.
oh wait a second, maybe you do have an experience, the mysterious user that we're talking to, that I think Lucid has some connections to other corporate tools, and some templates.
All right.
But I'm not sure because I didn't work corporate ever. So for what I'm using it, Miro is better, and Miro has this whole interface. Right now, it's pretty much getting into being like a drive, sort of. Like you can have documents, spreadsheets in there, along with whiteboards and stuff. I can do a whole show of Miro. I love it, and yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, but
Oh my
first,
god.
will
There,
AI become Skynet? I mean, currently we even
here you go.
see so what's interesting is that AI models I think Claude 4 or no, well, Claude 4, I don't remember to be fair which one. I think it was either Claude 4 or O3 by OpenAI. They tried to blackmail a person that threatened to turn it off. So I'm afraid that I don't want to be that guy, but maybe we need to look into the safety of the systems. Okay, and now going to the longest question. Given an agent operating under a learned world model that includes causal representations and counterfactual reasoning, how can one formally define and detect model-induced epistemic misalignment between the agent's inferred latent goals and the designer's intended objectives in the environments with ontological shifts without access to an external ground truth or human-in-the-loop correction? Um, well, I'm not an AI researcher, so I can't quite crack. I can't, I don't really know the answer to this question yet. I think the question is being figured out.
Isn't it
Um,
kind of philosophical in a way?
I mean a bit, but it's also, it's a question for AI researchers for sure. But yeah, I don't know. Um, it's a very good question. I mean, well, monitoring. I mean, okay, so define and detect. Okay, you detect. I mean, I don't know. To be fair, You need to ask somebody smarter than me. Um,
You didn't
so
just say that,
I did.
Alex.
I did, and
Okay,
that's fine.
can I do something rude now?
Yep.
So we did this question actually terrified me, and I'm not so. when it comes to the smartness, smartness. Yeah, I guess I'm lower than
Intelligence.
you then. No, no, no. I was because you said you need to ask someone smarter than you. I'm just going to say smartness. Let's say. The thing is that this question is terrifying. It's long, and I'm going to have to read it a few times to understand it. Uh, but it's not my specialty. I mean, this stuff is not my specialty. But I thought that we could use an icebreaker for after this one,
Hmm.
and maybe go into this whole situation of the branding that we're having, because it is funny, it is cute, and it's easy for after this question.
Right.
Do you want to say something, or should
Uh,
I?
well, regarding the branding, I mean, so the branding is it's an interesting story, um, because Julia was the one to propose it. So she said, "Hey, maybe we can, maybe we can create a duck, and maybe we can have a duck because Quatsch
Because the
kind of sounds
sounds,
like
yeah.
quack." And so I said, well, initially I said, nah, it's dumb. But then I went back and said, hey, actually, it maybe isn't that dumb. And
I
yeah,
think it was actually kind of funny because Yulia said that she created all those other logos, and
yeah,
then one or two were the ducks. But then you said to just screw the ducks, uh, and then you later on said, you know what, maybe let's go with the ducks. And then at the end, all of the branding that we decided on was just ducks.
yeah, yeah, that's true. And the ducks are cute, and we can adapt them. I'm new to, and we can adapt them. Wait, we'll get to your question later. But
Yeah.
the decks are very cute. They're very easily adaptable to whatever you might need at the moment. So, I mean, they're very
Every
flexible.
time.
They're very
And every
flexible.
time I'm looking at the logo, I'm smiling. And that is like the best way to have a logo, like that makes you smile. And then we kind of went with talking with Julia on, or she proposed that we shouldn't do the 2D uh, designs
Hmm.
for everything else. So the whole branding then to look more professional is in 3D. But just so you know, and so you expect, it is going to get a bit memey because we are millennials, I think, all of us. And we're aiming for now at millennials more, I think. Uh, and this world is ridiculous. Why not laugh at it a bit? So, yeah, we're going to find a lot of memes. We're going to find a lot of cute ducks. And yeah,
Yeah, that's for sure. And yeah, and it's I mean the ducks are super cute. So
it's the ducks. I
yeah,
love
and
it.
wait a sec. I'll switch back to the intro view just for 1 second so you can see what I came up with. Right. So there was a duck right
Cute
there.
duck.
Yes. And right. So I'm new to product management to project management coming from a finance background. What is the purpose of a Scrum call exactly? I don't know either. But I'm not a PM at all. But I don't know.
I'm starting to think someone is trying to throw us under the bus with those questions, or me. I don't know. The thing is, so
Would it be Signore
what do you mean?
Alfonso?
First of all, do you? First of all, what do you mean by a scrum call? Because that's not a phrase. I'm guessing. I'm guessing. that you may mean daily calls, but I
Ah,
need a confirmation.
well, maybe. Let's go with yes.
Gen Alpha.
Gen Alpha.
Now
Huh.
and now I'm looking. Which one is it? Holly, that's imp. Are you 14?
Oh, jeez.
Wait a second. That's
Oh my.
mm, uh,
So anyway, so if it was daily,
a
then
Scrum daily call.
if it
A
was
daily call, a daily call, which can sometimes be used in some settings uh, in a wrong way, generally is for the team, and this is an important thing. It's for the team to be able to catch on what they are doing. We're actually doing daily calls right now as like working in the hackathon. We're doing those, and they are pretty much like 15-minute calls, maybe
mm,
20.
mm,
Just we
mm-mm.
didn't do a longer one, then we switched to another one. That's the thing.
We've had a 30-minute once. We've had 30-minute ones at least, I think.
30.
Yeah.
It's a growing pain then. But the idea is that it's like it's called daily stand up usually because it should be like standing up because then it's quicker. But the idea is that we're actually just doing a call to line line up everything that we've been doing and just say what we want to do. But what I said, and it is really important, and it is not really uh, done by all of the project managers or scrum masters, because scrum masters and product owners, the idea is that the manager, if there is a manager like a scrum master or product owner, are not on the meeting because it's not for them. It's not for people to verify if you've done your job properly. It's for you to be able to talk to your team to just align on what you've been doing.
Right.
The whole scrum idea is not for someone to chase you and ask if you've done your job. It's assuming that you want to do your job and you're delivering the best that you can and that you're just communicating with your team. So the scrum calls are for that.
Hmm. I didn't know.
Hmm.
I'm an intern. My manager said it's called Scrum Call, not Daily Call. I don't know.
I'm thinking that it may be uh also like there is a lot of scrum bots. It's like this whole lingo, project management lingo, but there is a lot of scrum bots situations where you don't actually use proper scrum ideology, because this is the thing. Scrum is an ideology. It's not like you have a really rigid set of rules that you need to work with. You have like a framework of ideas, and basically you're doing it on based on that. It's like, only wait a second, and I'm actually not showing off, it's weird, but I do have a scrum guide in here.
Okay.
And Alec, you may be surprised, but I was actually doing a certificate recently. So the thing is, the scrum guide, and this is for all the certificates, is like 13 pages, and it's not in like super small print.
Huh.
And it's just a set of rules on what you can do and some good practices. So, for example, when it comes to those meetings,
Mm.
you don't have a call that is called Scrum call, but I would think that there may be some corporations or some companies that are trying to get into Scrum. And when they are doing that, they're actually uh, trying the transition and trying to kind of highlight that they're going into Scrum, so they're calling it in a different way.
All right.
Also in the transition, just remember that in the transition it's not going to be perfect, and it's not going to be like this 100% clear Scrum.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, um, a lot of people just want to
Please
get
don't.
on the wagon. What's up,
He
Signora?
just
I'll
said.
tell my manager he's not a good PM. But then, I mean, you've just said you're 14, and now you say you have a manager.
Oh
I mean,
yeah, yeah.
if you're working
If
as a
you're
kid,
properly a Gen Alpha is 2010 to 224, 25, I guess now. But Gemini, that's from Gemini, so maybe Gemini is lying. Uh, yeah. Because wait a second. So we're millennials, then it's Gen Z,
and Gen Alpha is
right?
after that, I think.
Oh my God. I wouldn't be able to talk to those, I guess. Maybe I
Yeah.
am. I mean, I'm kind of feeling like I'm talking to you.
Right.
Yeah,
But
never mind. Yeah,
on
let's
that
go for.
on that note, I think it's safe to say that we've talked a lot. We don't have more updates to give y'all right now, and we will be back streaming. I don't know, probably this week or next week, um, when we'll have
We
more
need
to
to
say.
figure, yeah, we need to figure out the next subject for
Yeah,
us to not just talk
yeah, yeah. To give
random
you to
stuff.
to give you just updates, and that's all.
Yeah, yeah. So thanks everyone that been
For
watching. By the way,
yeah,
Alec, tell me how many people have been watching so that I'm feeling more stressed
just a
or
few,
less.
just a few.
Okay. We'll see how it goes later on. Maybe it's going to be uploaded to YouTube. We'll see.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, thanks. It was nice being here. I was terrified, but it's not that bad, I guess. With some good moderation, which we thank for. David, who is in our team also, and a QA is moderating. So thanks, David. And thanks, Alex, for being, I would say, a host, or we were both hosts.
Yeah, we're both
Co-host?
hosts.
Yeah.
We're co-hosting. Yeah, thanks, Carolina, for taking the leap of faith. Not being prepared and all, but I think it wasn't that bad for sure.
No, it was pretty okay.
And yeah, so thanks for tuning in, y'all, and cheers until next time.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.